The Chesapeake Bay Report Card.
The Chesapeake Bay Report Card.
The Chesapeake Bay Report Card.
The report card
It starts with conceptualizing the system, thinking about what the values and threats are,
And it looks at water quality and habitat indicators.
figuring out what thresholds to use or goals.
And then grades for individual indicators. And we put grades on each of the regions within the system.
Communicating the results, which is just as important as the scores and report card itself.
You know, what it's about is communicating the health of this massive estuary.
There's a purpose of doing a report card, and there's many different purposes for depending on the region and what the people in that region want out of their ecosystems. That can be recreation, economy, having great wildlife and going out and, recreating and viewing the wildlife. It can also be tourism.
The natural environment is something that can really improve your own health. Economically, it's very important, not only for things like fisheries, like crabs and fish, striped bass, people love to fish, but also for tourism. So Baltimore, Washington, the historic towns on the Eastern Shore, all these places are visited by people all over the world.
And so all those things are important in doing a report card because the report card tells you how healthy is your ecosystem right now.
Since, the late 1800s, early 1900s, environmental degradation continued until about the 60s. And ever since then, we've been turning the tide, is what they say. We're improving the system more than we're degrading it. And it does take time, but we're now actually seeing the results of all that restoration.
Here you get to, sit down with the data and see what it's saying to you. Sometimes it's not going to jump out at you. Sometimes it jumps out right at you. There's obvious stories, but every year stories come out.
There's data out there now that is showing decreased nutrient concentrations in the water column.
Reducing nitrogen and phosphorus has helped make SAV more resilient. And it showed in this year's data.
So SAV is seagrass, submerged aquatic vegetation. That habitat that little fish and crabs live in as they grow up is significantly improving as well.
We're cleaning up the bay. I think the water's not that clear, but I think the submerged aquatic vegetation are becoming more resilient.
And this year we actually are seeing a positively, significantly increasing trend in overall bay health.
The past 6 years have been C grades, but those C grades have been able to show a statistically significant improving trend.
We're just taking it step by step. Every year we're getting a little bit better. We're doing a little bit more. Having done this every year for quite a while, I like to see that we're slowly making that transition from a lower grade to a higher grade. And it might take more time, but I'm excited for to see where that goes each year coming up.
I would say the Chesapeake Bay means a lot to me. I live on a small tributary of the South River. I can walk a mile from my house down to the water, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I want to make sure that it's protected and that it's healthy and has healthy ecosystems with lots of, wildlife, birds and fish and crabs and everything. And also that it'll still be there in generations to come for, my children and my grandchildren.